KJ here. Welcome back to my channel. So today, guys, I came back from Vegas. I'm kind of tired. Vegas was fun, but I realized it's probably not a place you go to just relax. And I just did too much ripping and running, and I came back home and I was still just as tired as when I left. But it's okay. I had a really good time. I shared some of the items I purchased in the previous haul, and I told you that I was going to save one of the items that I got at the thrift store for a separate haul because there's a little bit of a story behind the bag. So I'm gonna get right into that. So just a little quick story. So a couple of years back, maybe 5 or 6 years back, I purchased this vintage Louis Vuitton handbag. And guys, I had to write down the name of this one because it's not one of the popular shapes right now. Maybe back then it was, but right now it is not. And it's called the Epi Saint Jacques PM. So I had this bag already, and it has that beautiful Epi leather. Just a really nice bag, and y'all can see it's so dirty in here. I gotta clean it out with like a baby wipe or something. But as you can see, I actually really carry this one, and it still holds up very well. The leather on here is really, really nice. So anyway, so I don't know the exact name of this color. Everywhere I kind of look to research it, it just says blue. So I'm sure it actually had a specific name, because Louis Vuitton doesn't just call their bags pink or red. It's usually some other intricate color or whatever. So anyway, so I got this. So years ago, right? So when I was in Vegas, I was in the thrift store called, what was it? Alt Rebel. A-L-T Rebel. And it's like a consignment shop where people sell their goods to them and they then, pass it on to the customer. So they have like their designer handbags like hanging on a shelf in the back. And so if you want to see one of those bags, you can just ask the sales associate to see that handbag. But then they also have some handbags that are cheaper quality in the front where you can just look through racks of handbags. So one particular handbag was in a rack, and I will show you guys the handbag now, okay? And I'll give you up close personal look at it. And this is where it's kind of a little bit of wear and tear over here. So anyway, I'll tell you the price in a minute. So when I saw this handbag, actually, my mom and I were together shopping, and we saw the handbag, and I was like, that's a Louis Vuitton bag. And she was like, I think it is too. So then once we realized that it was Louis Vuitton, we kind of we didn't fight over it because we don't really fight, but it was more like, Mom, who's going to get it? Are we going to share this bag? Which never works out. When she says she's going to share a bag with me, she never shares it with me. So I was like, Mom, we're going to decide now who's going to keep the bag. She won, so she got to keep the bag. She purchased the bag. And she was like, well, do you think it's real? On the tag, it said dupe, okay? Now, because I already had this one a couple years ago that I already know was real, was authentic. They make this color, okay? Mind you, I did some research. These particular bags were put out in the 80s, okay? So I was like, no, that bag has got to be real, because when you look inside, everything was too well made. And what I did, I went ahead and, of course, did my little internet research, and I pulled up this exact same bag, and this is called the Epi Riviera, okay? I went ahead and found this exact same bag on Google, okay? I then went ahead and I looked at websites who were known for selling, pre-loved luxury handbags that are authentic. So I went to those websites, and I zoomed in on the pictures just to make sure, and I matched it up to make sure the stitching was the same, the color, etc., etc. So I even went ahead and looked at the stitching on here, stitching on the handles. And then I also went ahead and looked at the tag on the actual bag itself, and everything matched perfectly. And then this also is because I do have a couple other Louis Vuitton bags. So I know their stitching should pretty much for the most part be meticulous. And on the authentic bag, there were a certain number of stitching here. So I made sure to count the stitching all over to make sure the same numbers of stitching matched on the picture on the authentic item. So I was like, no, this is definitely a real bag, real Louis Vuitton bag, vintage. So what I did, I went to the sales associate, because mind you, this was labeled as a dupe, okay? I went to the sales associate and I said, hey, I realized that this bag is labeled as a dupe, but what makes it a dupe? What did you guys find on this bag that made it a dupe? And she was like, oh, you can just tell by the quality. The quality is not the highest grade. And mind you, bless her heart, the sales associate who I guess they had marking these items had to be older than anywhere in the age range from 18 to 22, which is nothing wrong with being in that age range. But I don't know if she was old enough to identify authentic Louis Vuitton the way she thought she was. Because like I said, I have my other bag. So when I felt that leather, she said the leather was low quality. Louis Vuitton would never make anything like this. And she said Louis Vuitton never made anything with these straps. Now, mind you, I was doing my internet research. So in the pictures on, what is it called? The Real Yogi's Closet. There was another website that I checked that sells these same handbags. Their bags had these same elastic straps on the inside. Now, the sales associate marked this as a dupe because she said Louis Vuitton never made those types of straps in their handbag. I already knew that they did, so I just sat there and kind of just listened. I don't know if you've ever talked to somebody who they're talking as if it's from the Bible, as if they know 100, 1,000% what they're talking about. But in the back of my mind, I was like, I'm just gonna let her keep going with that. If she thinks that it's a dupe, we gonna go with that and check on out and be about our business. So anyway, so I was trying to find a date code in this bag, okay? So what I found through my internet research, once again, is that these bags don't have the lining that these suede ones do. So I'll show you the difference, okay? So this one has like a vinyl lining, which Louis Vuitton did make this vinyl lining at one point, okay? This one has the suede lining. The ones on Yogi Closets and the resale websites did have this vinyl lining as well. The problem with this vinyl lining, and probably why they don't even use it anymore, is because over time it started to peel. Once this started to peel, customers had to go into Louis Vuitton, get this whole thing redone, the inside, because it was peeling. Once Louis Vuitton redid the inside of the bag, I don't know if they call it like resurfacing, I don't know the exact word, but once they redid the lining of it, that lining no longer had a date code. So I was looking with my flashlight through the bag trying to find the date code. When I went onto one of the websites that resells these bags, it would say like a section where it says date code, and it said missing date code due to lining being redone. So if you find a Louis Vuitton bag and you don't see a date code and you're getting it at like a consignment shop, it possibly may not have a date code if it has this type of lining, because that lining was redone. Now, like I said, the lining is done perfectly. So you know this was not something that was done outside of Louis Vuitton doing it. And just also the quality of the leather, if you could see that. She was saying, look at the wear on the handle right here, right? And I'll show you. This one I know for a fact is authentic. That is the same exact leather on both of these handbags, okay? But like I told you, she kept saying that this was not an authentic bag. Anyway, bless her little heart. Like I said, very sweet girl, but she's not old enough to say, you know, what is considered vintage and what is authentic, because she wasn't around during this time. So these bags apparently were out in the 80s. I don't know what part of the 80s, 1980s and 1989. I don't know which part of the 80s, but apparently these bags were really popular at that time. So I picked this bag up for $30, okay? Very good bag. What I likely will do is just polish it up a little bit. I might just use like a gentle leather cleaner just to clean it. The inside is not too bad anyway, but I'll probably go down, as you can see, a little bit of dust down in that pocket. Whoever owned this really loved it. And that's one thing about Louis Vuitton. You know, look how long these bags are lasting. I can't speak to the newer Louis Vuittons because I know there's been some quality issues with the newer bags, but the old ones, the vintage, the leather is amazing and it's gonna hold up. This particular bag, when it was made, came with a little luggage tag. This one is missing it, but for $30, can you even complain that it's missing a luggage tag? If my mom decides she needs that luggage tag, she can easily go on eBay, and they also have these luggage tags in this same leather that are authentic, that, you know, are from a different country they usually have them in, but that's authentic, that would match this bag perfectly. And those luggage tags can go from anywhere from like $30 to $50 if she really wanted it. I don't think she's gonna do all that. I think she's just happy to find such a good deal on this particular bag. But guys, the moral of the story is, go to those consignment shops. They do have Goodwill down in Vegas, but we didn't go to the Goodwill. We went to like those little small consignment shops. Go to those consignment shops and you never know what you can find. And I think what helped me was that I had a little bit of knowledge about Louis Vuitton. I owned a couple Louis Vuitton bags, so I know the quality. And then also utilize the website or the internet. If you're in a consignment shop and you just so happen to see a bag and you're like, this looks it feels a little too real. It's the quality, the stitching feels a little bit too real. Do your internet research, you know, go into some of those resale websites and find that bag and match up that stitching just like I did to make sure everything matched perfectly. And like I said, they put on this tag, you probably can't see it. They put on this tag, Louis Vuitton dupe, as you can see. I knew back in the 80s, dupes were not this good. Now there are dupes for a lot of these designer handbags that are A++ quality, right? It's almost hard to detect. It's almost hard for Louis Vuitton to detect. Back in the 80s when this was made, dupes were they were not this good, okay? And also with dupes, they almost overdo the quality, right? If they're trying to make it a dupe. This one had the scratches everywhere where it's supposed to be. This piping, the black piping that's here, was starting to come off where it's supposed to come off from wear and tear. So that also showed me that this is good quality. I did call Louis Vuitton in Vegas because if I had time, I was gonna go by there. And while they say they do not authenticate bags, they say you're always able to go into a Louis Vuitton boutique. And what you can do is you can say, you know, I was wondering about getting like, I don't know, come up with something. I was wondering about getting some leather replaced or getting some hardware replaced. And once they look at it, they will say, oh, we're not able to service this bag because it is not one of ours or something along that line. So that's their way of letting you know if it's authentic or not. I didn't have time to do all that, but I am like 99% sure that this bag is authentic. Like I said, the stitching is perfect and immaculate, and it matched the pictures on the website. And I guess at one point Louis Vuitton was making these elastic straps in their bag. I've seen stranger things from them. But that was my experience. I definitely enjoyed thrifting. I definitely enjoy finding little bargains here and there. And this definitely was a bargain. And, you know, at the end of the day, my mom and I kind of laughed at how certain this sales associate was that this was a dupe. And meanwhile, we're like, that definitely is not. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. It's really quick and to the point. Let me know what finds that you had found so far at thrift stores that were like a little bit too good to be true. And let me know your experience. You know, do you think that this is authentic? Like I said, I'm 90% sure, 99% sure it is, but let me know your thoughts. Like, does everything seem to line up? Maybe there is someone out there who is an expert at Louis Vuitton handbags and would be able to say, yep, that definitely is authentic. Guys, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video.